Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते राधा गोविंद गोस्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते प्रभुपादि देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी ग्राम जन्नस्तारिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदि अन्तस्थभद्राणि विधुनोति सुरत्सतां नष्ट sorry नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita chapter 35 This remote corner of the world. While Prabhupada continued in New York, poised to leave for London in a few days, his secretary mentioned that many US centers were still vying for his presence. Prabhupada casually remarked that if any center could arrange a good lecture program and pay his travel expenses plus $1,000, then he would go there before leaving for London. Hearing this, the devotees in Gainesville, Florida, determined to meet Prabhupada's transcendental challenge, The temple president, Hridayananda, assigned an uninitiated devotee, David Limberman, to find a sponsor at the University of Florida willing to pay $1,000 for Prabhupada to come and speak. David visited every student organization on campus until he found a donor. Prabhupada agreed to come even though his secretary informed him that the flight would lay over 2 hours in Atlanta and then continue to Jacksonville, a 1.5 hour car ride from Gainesville. Atlanta, July 29, 1971. The 10 residents of the recently opened Atlanta temple arranged to receive Prabhupada during his layover at the Atlanta airport. They prepared a large feast and decorated the Eastern Airlines VIP lounge with fruits, flowers, and garlands. Bill Ogle. Although Srila Prabhupada was not big physically, he immediately captured the consciousness of the entire Atlanta airport when he entered. Everyone was watching as he walked, with his head held high, his cane moving gracefully with every step. The airport is one of the busiest in the country, but everyone who saw Prabhupada looked at him in amazement. Airport officials voluntarily began clearing a path for Prabhupada to walk. But what was even more amazing was that he was so submissive to such insignificant disciples as we. Prabhupada entered the VIP lounge with his disciples and about 20 Indian guests. Confronting the portable Vyasasana atop a marble table, Prabhupada declined. The seat seemed unsteady, but the devotees assured him that it was sturdy. So Prabhupada climbed up, sat down, and began leading a kirtan. After speaking for about 15 minutes, Prabhupada concluded his lecture. This is not sentimental chanting, but it is based on the soundest philosophy, Vedic literatures. We have got so many books, and you can buy them in our bookstore. Where is the bookstore? There was a long pause. The devotees had remembered fruits, flowers, the chair, the feast, invitations to the Indians, but they had forgotten Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada continued to wait for an answer to his question until finally the senior disciple, Janmejay, replied, Prabhupada, we usually have a bookstore. Hmm, was all Prabhupada said after a long silence. So, Prabhupada said, looking at the audience, any questions? Prabhupada chatted with the Indians, asking their names and where they were from in India. Most of them were young men with families and treated him respectfully like a grandfather or a revered Swami. One Indian man, about 35, mentioned that he was getting his PhD in biology. Oh, biology, Prabhupada said. Poor frogs. Everyone in the lounge except the biologist burst into laughter. No, no, the biologist protested, embarrassed. Why poor frogs? Because you are killing, Prabhupada said. But it is for the advancement of knowledge, said the biologist. So it is worthwhile. It is for the advancement of knowledge. All right, said Prabhupada, if I ask you now, will you give your body for the advancement of knowledge? Everyone in the room began to laugh. Yes, yes, I would, the man replied. But the more he protested, repeating, yes, I would, the more ridiculous he seemed, and the harder everyone laughed. How many species of life are there? Prabhupada asked. 50 million, the biologist replied. Oh, said Prabhupada, you have seen them all? No. How many have you seen? Perhaps 5,000. And you are wrong, Prabhupada said. There are 8.4 million species of life. We have scientific knowledge from the Vedas. Bill Ogle. After Prabhupada took prasad, we performed a play for him. The play was The Brahmana and the Cobbler. I played Vishnu. It was terrible. I had to be Vishnu and my wife had to be Lakshmi. I was lying down as Lord Vishnu and my wife was massaging my feet. Prabhupada kept looking at me and I thought he must be thinking, who is this rascal playing Vishnu? My feeling was, this is not very good. I shouldn't be doing this. I was very embarrassed to be in front of Prabhupada like that. Jayasen was Narad Muni and he offered obeisances about 100 times throughout the play. Because Prabhupada was there, Jayasen was constantly offering obeisances to everyone and anything. So, although he was playing Narad Muni, he offered obeisances to the cobbler. But some of the Indians spoke up. They were a little taken aback that Narad Muni, such a great saint, was offering obeisances to a cobbler who is ordinarily a very low class person. So at this point, Prabhupada interrupted and began to explain. Actually, he said, it is all right that Narad Muni has offered obeisances to the cobbler because the cobbler is a Vaishnava. Any Vaishnava can receive obeisances more than a Brahmana. Jai. He continued narrating the play. He told the story and we continued acting. It was ecstatic. As Prabhupada was leaving the lounge to board his flight for Jacksonville, a lady in a wheelchair, the mother of one of the devotees in Atlanta, raised herself up and threw herself at Prabhupada's feet. With tears in her eyes, she cried out, I am dying of cancer. Save me, save me. Srila Prabhupada bent down and put his hand on her head. This is all right, he said comfortingly. That is all right. As Prabhupada, garlanded with red roses and magnolias, walked down the corridor toward his plane, the devotees thought that Prabhupada appeared majestic, like a king. He emanated a golden effulgence and he seemed powerful yet humble. The devotees felt spiritual strength and pledged to follow Prabhupada's teachings. They last glimpsed him walking across the airfield toward the small plane that would take him to Jacksonville, his saffron silk dhoti and kurta blowing in the breeze. He turned to them and waved. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. What a wonderful narration. I didn't read it, I just copy pasted it and I thought I'll read it when I'm giving the class. But how the devotees just converted the lounge, the VIP lounge, for 2 hours into a temple. That's just amazing. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:14-46. या इदं भगवता सभाजितावया दाता गुणाकर्मणोरजर्षेर्भरत भारतस्यानुचरितं स्वस्ति अयनम् आयुष स्वस्ति अयनम् आयुष्यं धन्यं यश्यं स्वर्गापवर्गयं वानुशृणोत्यख्यास्यति अभिनन्दन्ति च सर्वा एवाशिषात्मना सास्तेन काञ्चना परता इति या इदं भागवत सभा जिता वदाता गुणाकर्मानुराजर्षेर्भरत्यास्यानुचरितं स्वस्ति अयनम् आयुष्यं धन्यं यस्यं स्वर्ग्यापवर्गयं वनुशृणोति अखे यास्यति अभिनन्दन्ति च सर्वा एव शेषा आत्मना आशास्तेन काञ्चना परता इति या इदं भागवता सभाजिता वदता गुणा कर्मणो रजस्वेर्भरत्यास्यानुचरितं स्वस्ति अयनम् आयुष्यं धन्यं यश्यं स्वर्ग्यापवर्गयं वानुशृणोति आख्यास्यति अभिनन्दन्ति च सर्वा एवाशेषा आत्मना आशास्तेन काञ्चना परता इति. Anyone would like to recite the verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. I am listening. Yo idam bhagavato sabha badat guna karmano rajarshe bharatasanu charitam shasto ayanam ayushyam dhanyam jashasyam shargyapavargam vanusrinoti akhyashyati abhinandati cha sarva evashisha atmana asaste no kanchana parato iti. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam Mataji.
Ya idam bhagavata sabhajitavodat guna karmano rajarshir bharatasyanuchuritam swastyayanam ayushyam dhanyam jasasyam sargapavargyam banu sinotya akhyasatya ubhinandati cha sarva eva shisha atmano ashaste no kanchana parato iti. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone would like to read the synonym?
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I read
Yes. Yeah. Would you like to read the synonyms, Mataji? Or you want to read the verse?
the verse, please?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, I will read the synonyms.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Idam Bhagavat Sab Ajit Avadhat Guna Karmano Rajarishe Bharatasyanucharitam Swastyayanam Ayushyam Dhanyam Yashashyam Swargya Apavargayam Vasu Shrunotya Kya Asteya Abhinandati cha sarva eva shisha आत्मना आसक्तेन कंचन परत इति. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhuji, can you?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dhanwad Pranam. Synonyms, salary synonyms. Yah, anyone who, idam, this, Bhagavate, by exalted devotee, Sabhajita, greatly worshipped, Avadata, pure, Guna, whose quality, Karmana, and activities, Rajarshi, of great saintly king, Bharatasya, or Bharat Maharaj, Anuchiratam, the narration, Swasti Ayanam, the abode of auspiciousness, Ayushyam, which increase one's duration of life, Dhanyam, increase one's fortune, Yashyashyam, bestow reputation, Swarga, gives promotion to the higher planetary system, the goal of karmis. Avaparva, apavargam, gives liberation from this material world and enables one to merge into the supreme, the goal of jnanis. Va, or Anushnoti, always hears, following the path of devotional service. Akyashyati, describes for the benefit of others. Abhinandati, glorifies the characteristics of devotees and the Supreme Lord. Cha, and Sarva, all. Eva, certainly. Ashisha, blessings. Atmana, for himself. Asate, he achieves. Na, not. Kanchana, anything. Paratha, from anyone else. Iti, does. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Translation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaj Bharat, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things, for simply by studying the life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. The forest of material existence is summarized in this 14th chapter. Oh, sorry, purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The forest of material existence is summarized in this 14th chapter. The word bhava tavi refers to the path of material existence. The merchant is the living entity who comes to the forest of material existence to try to make money for sense gratification. The six plunderers are the senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and mind. The bad leader is diverted intelligence. Intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness, but due to material existence, we divert all our intelligence to achieve material facilities. Everything belongs to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of the Lord and engage in satisfying our senses. The jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members, and the herbs and creepers are our material desires. The mountain cave is our happy home, and the mosquitoes and serpents are our enemies. The rats, beasts, and vultures are different types of thieves who take away our possessions, and the Gandharvapura is the phantasmagoria of the body and home. The will-o'-the-wisp is our attraction for gold and its color, and material residence and wealth are the ingredients for our material enjoyment. The whirlwind is our attraction for our wife, and the dust storm is our binding passion experienced during sex. The demigods control the different directions, and the cricket is the harsh word spoken by our enemy during our absence. The owl is the person who directly insults us, and the impious trees are impious men. The waterless river represents atheists who give us trouble in this world and the next. The meat-eating demons are the government officials, and the pricking thorns are the impediments of material life. The little taste experienced in sex is our desire to enjoy another's wife, and the flies are the guardians of women, like the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and so forth. The creeper is women in general. Sorry. The creeper itself is women in general. The lion is the wheel of time, and the herons, crows, and vultures are so called demigods, pseudo-swamis, yogis, and incarnations. All of these are too insignificant to give one relief. The swans are the perfect brahmanas, and the monkeys are the extravagant shudras engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The trees of the monkeys are our households, and the elephant is ultimate death. Thus, the constituents of material existence are described in this chapter. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. Jai. So, Hare Krishna devotees, we are at the end of Jar Bharata's story officially. This chapter was basically an explanation of 13th chapter, which Jar Bharat Maharaj told to King Rahugan. And in this chapter, the same forest of material enjoyment is being explained by Sukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, right? Now, a very interesting thing is we read the translation of the verse and we read the purport as well. Srila Prabhupada's purport is very different to the translation. Okay, let us see once again what the translation says. So the translation is saying the devotees interested in hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaj Bharat, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things, for simply by studying the life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. Right? So, all of us who have been attending these classes, Srila Prabhupada, Sukdev Goswami is telling us that anything, one can become very famous, anything what we desire, right? Any material opulence, any spiritual desires, all of our desires will be fulfilled just by hearing Bharat Maharaj's pastimes and glorifying him. So this translation basically is speaking about Falashruti. At the end of every chapter, Sukdev, at the end of every character's story, Sukdev, devotee story, Sukdev Maharaj is giving, Sukdev Goswami is giving this Falashruti. Basically, it is the end of the chapter, this chapter. So, and that's why there is Falashruti that whoever hears, chant, or glorify Bharat Maharaj, what is the benefit of it? So basically, Falashruti is something that is described as benefits, okay, accrued by someone listening to a particular chapter of scriptures. The primary function of Falashruti is to inspire devotees to engage in the practice or as in of devotional service, increasing the sadhana and chanting, reading, listening of these chapters and devotees from Srimad Bhagavatam. It serves basically as an incentive. Okay. So the verse translation, the verse all about is the Falashruti. But what our dear Srila Prabhupada is giving us in purport? Srila Prabhupada, so to be honest, this verse can be spoken in or discussed in many ways, but I would just stick exactly to Srila Prabhupada's purport and the translation and see why Srila Prabhupada has written this purport to a Falashruti. Okay, so the purport of Srila Prabhupada talks about material forest is a dangerous place to be. We read the purport. Right. That's what Srila Prabhupada is writing. He's not writing anything about Falashruti at all. Why? Because see, Srila Prabhupada is our spiritual master. He always guides us. He's trying to remind us that don't get attracted by the flowery words of Falashruti. Where the verse is saying that if we hear, chant, and glorify pure devotees, definitely our material and spiritual desires will be fulfilled. But Srila Prabhupada is indirectly, with this purport, is once again trying to remind us about the material world so that we don't approach the pastimes of Bharat Maharaj with a material desire, seeking material desires from Lord. We shouldn't be approaching this pastime through that. Srila Prabhupada wants to remind us of this branch of Vedas, which is Karma Kand, right? He wants us to rather focus on the spiritual part of Bharat Maharaj. It's like this, Srila Prabhupada's purpose are like these cruise control in the car, right? They are trying to guide us every time. If the cruise control is working very good, and if it's a very nice car, the driver can even sleep while driving, right? Similarly, if we have a bona fide spiritual master and if we have Srila Prabhupada's purport with us, we just have to follow what the instructions of Srila Prabhupada is, and he will guide us through our course of devotional service, right? Srila Prabhupada guides us with this summary of this chapter, reminding us about the material forest. So he's giving a complete summary of this, that don't get entangled in material desires. Okay, yeah, the Falashruti does say about material desires, but wait, do not focus on material desires, right? Because what will happen if you do? Let's listen to the last chapter, the summary of the whole chapter, right? Now, so we'll just go through what Prabhupada has written in the purport, and the slides which I'm going to show you now are taken from Bhagavad Pravaha series of His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhuji. He's very nicely summarized them in beautiful slides about what is what, the comparison, the analogies of material forest. Okay, so the purport speaks about that once there's this merchant who enters into the forest and has many things to sell, and then how he suffers. So this merchant is the conditioned soul, and he's entering in this forest, which is material world. Okay, and he's suffering. Why this conditioned soul is suffering? Basically, as Srila Prabhupada also writes in the purport, six senses, transmigration. That's why he's suffering. Okay, and then in the forest, merchant meets the plunderers, and these plunderers are, of course, these six senses, which are uncontrolled. Then the jackals are the family members. Sometimes a merchant meets jackal in the forest, and these are the family members who are acting as enemies of the conditioned soul or troubling the person, the conditioned soul a lot. Sometimes he even imagines Gandharva, right? That's just an imaginary place. That is compared to mind's false vision, where he just dreams. A conditioned soul is just dreaming about, oh, I'll have this, I'll have that. It's just imaginary, right? And then there are a lot of mosquitoes in the forest, and that mosquitoes are the low class men, which often gives various kind of struggles to the conditioned soul. Then the merchant meets ghost also, and this meeting is compared to material desires, which make us work in so many ways. And these desires haunt us like ghosts, and we get uncontrolled hankering for it as well, right? Because of that uncontrolled hankering, our eyes are blinded by dust. As the merchant's eyes is blinded by dust, which is compared to eyes blinded by our desire for possession of things, illicit sex. This is what happens with our uncontrolled senses. In the forest, then there are a lot of crickets, owl. They are making disturbing sounds, and you cannot control them, right? That is compared to government officials. You cannot control them. You cannot ignore them, right? They implement taxes, which none of us can ignore, especially the materialistic government nowadays. And then impious trees are the trees which doesn't give fruit. So basically, they are not charitable. They are impious men. They are wealthy men who would also disturb the conditioned soul by showing their power to the conditioned soul during the course of his lifetime. And then sometimes in the forest, the merchant come across mirages, right? It looks like a water reservoir, but there is no water. That is controlled to that is compared to sense gratification. The material world promises a lot of sense enjoyment, But when we come close and try to enjoy these senses, we realize that there's no happiness or enjoyment. In this month, the last day or the 1st of December, we'll be celebrating Gita Jayanti, 30th November or 1st December. That's Gita Jayanti. Bhagwan has said clearly in Bhagavad Gita many times that all these bhogas are different yonis of dukkha. He says that again and again. He's saying you cannot enjoy, you cannot have sense gratification. He mentions it clearly, bhoktaram yajna tapasam, everything is his, nothing for, even if you will try, nothing will happen. You will only feel more burning. It's like putting oil in the ghee in the fire, in the burning fire. It will just burn more. Nothing else will happen. We cannot have sense gratification in this material world. Bhagwan again and again speaks in Bhagavad Gita about this, reminding us that. Then there are shallow rivers. Now, the same Bhagavad Gita are some pseudo gurus, right, who are manipulating the words of Bhagwan and spreading it out. Those are compared, those are like these shallow rivers. When a person gets into this river thinking diving, oh, he'll feel cool, he'll feel warm, but when he dives in the river, his head gets broken, most possibly, or his limbs will be broken because there is no water. There's very little water, and then there are stones underneath. Similarly, when normal conditioned soul comes across pseudo gurus, they think that they will get association, they will elevate in their spiritual realization. But what happens is they actually get cheated. They get cheated. They are just being um, giving so much money to them, their time to them, but they don't get anything in return. Rather, their spiritual faith is more hurt and broken. More, it becomes very, very dangerous if we associate with the pseudo gurus. But this is what material world is about. Then there is forest fire, which is compared to the materialistic family life. If the divine couple is not in the center, then there will only be conflicts. That's what forest fire is. There are so many yakshas. Those yakshas are compared to government officials, right? They will just come and take bribe and give us or give the conditioned soul more distress. There's some relief, right? There's temporary relief, and but that is all dreamy happiness. Just assuming, if a child is born in the family, the person just assumes, oh, my loved one, left this world last month, so this child might be the same person he has come back. But it's all illusion. It's just thinking. It's not. It's all in his dream, right? It's not. It's just illusory happiness. And then sometimes, in forests, we have to climb mountains and trees, which is compared to doing extra effort for the family, because the family is pushing the person. Oh, we want this, we want that, and the person is trying to, if there's a marriage, it has to be in such a big way. There's to be in India, you see, the marriages are exactly like, it's like you're just walking into a showroom. Everyone is dressed with so beautiful clothes, and they have beautiful earrings. In India, I know that this is a thing because I've attended so many marriages, and they all tell me, my relatives tell me, you cannot repeat the same dress from last year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. You cannot do that. This is not done, right? Who will work for it? The conditioned soul themselves have to work for all this thing, or to show all these things, do show off and all. And then the one important problem which I definitely have is sleep, which is compared to python. They are just roaming in the forest, uncontrolled, right? So that is compared to sleep, laziness we have as conditioned souls. And sometimes there are snake bites, which are compared to, again, enemies, any enemies. From any direction, they can come and attack us. And sometimes we ourselves, due to our troubled heart, anxiety, depression, panic attack, we fell, we think that we have been fallen into this dark well. That is the comparison analogy given, right? And then there are sometimes the analogy of honey bees is given, where the man is just searching for honey, he finds honey, and then the bees are after him to bite. Sometimes when the conditioned soul is trying to, that's what Prabhupada writes in the purport, that when he tries to associate or have illicit relationship with someone else's wife, the king will punish. There will definitely be consequences. And there are many more such examples written in the purport, right? Summarizing the whole chapter. Basically, this material world is full of miseries, right? From and threefold miseries. There's everywhere, from any and each and every direction, there is miseries coming. But what happens is, the individuals, they just go on living the life in this material world from birth to death, just like a cycle, a mechanical cycle, without paying any attention to the troubles in the material world, right? Rather, nowadays, if you find a trouble, people are saying, just move on, just move on. Forget the trouble and just move on. But if you just keep on moving, you will be stuck in the cycle. You have to stop, understand, pause. Why I'm having this trouble, right? Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the bad leader is diverted intelligence. Intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness, he writes. But due to material existence, we are thinking, oh, we are very intelligent by moving on. We are very intelligent by not giving, yeah, problems so aati rehti hai. That's not a big thing. In this material world, we have defined the person who has gone through problems and then moved on is more stronger in that way. But we have to understand why we are having this problem. Otherwise, we'll never be able to go to the root of the problem and take it out from the root cause. So the merchant entered in this forest, see, to sell. He just entered to sell. He didn't enter to stay here. He just entered to sell some of his goods. But the merchant gets stuck in this material forest itself. And he is so much troubled, he doesn't know how to leave the forest. He literally doesn't know how to leave the forest. He only knows how to engage himself more and more into this forest, right? It's like we all have become like Abhimanyu. We can enter this material world, but we can't get out, right? Hence, now comes the part of Falashruti. Hence, Lord has sent devotees in this material world to preach us how to get out of this material world. This miserable, devotees teach us that this miserable life, there is only one way to get out, that is devotional service. Uh, After saying everything about the explanation of this whole analogy of material forest, right? The great forest. Sukhdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that Bharat Maharaj has beautifully shown us that only devotional service, how he left the body, how he left the body, yesterday's class, right? Only devotional service is the way out of this. In his three lives as King Bharat, Dear and Jad Bharat, in all these three lives, he has beautifully shown what to do and what not to do. All the do's and don'ts he has shown so that we learn from it, right? And devotees are teaching us that at each and every step, pure devotees in this material world, they are basically the bridge between this material world and spiritual world. They are holding that bridge where we are walking and running. Srila Prabhupada is holding that. His purports are holding this. Our Guru Maharaj is holding that bridge for us, where we can easily run. And we always think that, oh, I'm doing so good in devotional service because there is Prabhupada, Guru, pure devotees holding that bridge for us. All we need to do is just walk on the bridge. That's it. And walking, we all can do that, I'm sure. Or progressing, we all can do, right? So it's a very simple thing if we think about it, right? It's like this person is drowning in water, and then the pure devotees are giving help, but the onus is on us, right, to take that help. So the onus is on us to have association of devotees continuously, like Bharat Maharaj, like Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna's mercy descends only through the Vaishnavas. Scriptures clearly shows that. And all the devotees in the scriptures have cracked this formula out. You think about Vritrasur, what does he say? Aham haritva padeka moolam dasanu daso bhavitasmi bhuya. I have understood. What I have understood, I want to be servant of your devotees. Prahlad Maharaj is preaching that. When Lord comes, Prahlad Maharaj says, I want to be servant of Narad Muni. Lord Shiva is continuously talking about the characteristics, about how important devotees are, and he's continuously listening to devotees and Lord's pastimes. Dhruv Maharaj says that in his prayers too. Recently, Kartik Mas went, right? What did Nal Kubera prayed? It's very interesting. I've never actually looked in detail in Nal Kubera's prayers. All of you might have, but they are so beautiful prayers, right? I think very few verses, 10, 12 verses, if I'm not wrong. In those, they are clearly saying that they are so much grateful to the devotees, to Narad Muni. Right? So the formula to achieve material and spiritual desires is to just serve devotees, chant about their glories, talk about the pastimes of Lord and his devotees. That's what Sukhdev Goswami is saying in the verse. And Prabhupada says that it's very interesting. Yesterday, I listened to the class, and then based on that, I drafted the Prabhupada Leela Amrita in my PowerPoint, and I read that part as well. And then later I came to know that that was not where I'm supposed to start. So I then did it again. But in yesterday, till where I read it, it clearly mentions, Prabhupada says that in this chapter itself, Prabhupada stressed this same point in his lectures. If a person seeking spiritual fulfillment lived and served with his ISKCON devotees, even material fulfillment would come. So Srila Prabhupada has always spoken from scriptures. So interesting, right? So interesting. And we see there's so much pure teachings of Srila Prabhupada that is making ISKCON so powerful. And that's why if anyone gets association of ISKCON devotees, their material and spiritual desires will definitely be fulfilled. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying, right? So the conclusion is, Sukhdev Goswami was telling us that Bharat Maharaj pastimes, if chanted, heard, and glorified, all our desires, spiritual and material, would be fulfilled. That was the verse, right? Devotees are basically like desire trees, right? What we say every day, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We say that every day. Devotees like Bharat Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotees on this Dharadham right now, they all are like desire trees. They are more merciful than Lord, right? So their pastimes, if narrated, carry the potency of fulfilling any desire we have. However, Srila Prabhupada in the purport is reminding us that how difficult this material world is, and what happens when we have material desires. We'll get entangled in material world. Right? So to stay away from material desires, let's just seek only spiritual desires until we come to the platform of pure devotee where we don't even desire anything and we are completely surrendered to the Lord. But until then, we should just desire for spiritual advancement. When we are in association of pure devotees, when we are hearing, chanting, and reciting their glories, basically we have to be very careful what we desire. Because clearly, Srila Prabhupada in this verse clearly tells us that everything, all of our desires will be fulfilled. So let's be a bit careful for our desires, what we desire from after, during, later hearing the pastimes of pure devotee. Hare Krishna. I'll end it here. I'm really sorry. I think I might have just 5 more minutes. As I have a work meeting to attend. But if there are any questions or realizations, please feel free to share. And if there are any add-ons as well, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for bringing out the essential points of this verse so nicely from different angles, from the Prabhupada's purport and also from the literary translation of the verse. You have given direction to both the things, and what the devotees want is that they do not look for the material things as is often given as a byproduct of devotional service. So devotees are not interested to increase their attachment in this material world. whether it is in the form of suffering or in the form of sense enjoyment. In both the ways, they reject it because they know it. Even in whatever way one tries to continue it, Prabhupada has told, it is temporary only. Whether we want material happiness, as Prabhupada has at one place told, if someone says that yes, I'll somehow tolerate it, what it is, but still he cannot continue. It will be taken away at some point of time. At the end of his life, everything will go. So that is the situation. And in the Prabhupada's word, Krishna Bhakta is very intelligent, and that's why he doesn't involve himself in this material aspect of life. Of course, we cannot neglect it. We have the material body. We understand that, a devotee understand that, but doesn't engage in the activities separately other than Krishna consciousness. Because if he does, Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Kritha, if he does that, the others are automatically performed. Whatever is needed for a devotee is automatically done. So a devotee focuses on the serving the Lord, and in this way, he gains everything that is needed for him, because Krishna is the best well-wishers, and he knows what is needed for the devotee, as against one's personal thinking that this is good for me, it is good for me. But Krishna is the most intelligent person and benefactor of his devotees. So he offers what is needed for a devotee, and devotee is contented with that. And that is what Prabhupada has tried to give us, the knowledge which, as a part of ISKCON, we are following. So thank you very much for explaining that point to all of us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, if there are no more comments, or if there are no questions, can we?
It appears, Mataji, there's no other question other than, so thank you once again for your nice class, and the class may be concluded. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo
Evam
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रभु सीता माता जी की जय
Srila Prabhupada.
पाद की जय हरि हरि
all
Thank you,
glories to
Maharaj.
assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.